Sometimes your bridges get hard to cross, I know. Me, I'm just taking mine one day at a time. Alright, and on to the next step. If you're still with me, we are creating a flyer using Photoshop, and we're learning some techniques as we go along here. So, I'm going to try to continue to go from bottom up, even though some of my layers may actually get out of order. But I'm going to try to go from bottom up to kind of give you an idea how I stack things. The next thing I added was a model in here. And please don't comment about the models, because most of the people that want my flyers want club flyers. They want sexy type flyers. So most of the models I have don't have any clothes on. But I know that already, and tell you what, it's actually better than just watching some of the other YouTube videos that have. Anyway, alright, we got a model here, and what I had to do was extract this model, because this was the original photo here of the model. Go ahead and double click that to bring it into Photoshop to show you where I came from. This was the original photo of the model, and I had to extract this model out of this green background to get something that I can actually use like this. Now, if you're new to Photoshop and you're new to extracting, do not, under no circumstances, get a photo of a person that have the same colors on as the background. That is an absolute nightmare. However, I did upload, or I am going to upload, a video called Extracting a Model, where my model is on a white background and it's so much simpler to extract. I'm going to show you real quickly how I extracted this model from the green background. Bear with me, and I am going to speed up the camera rate so you don't have to sit and watch this whole process. But what I did to extract this model is go over to the magic wand tool and selected the magic wand. You got quick selection and you got the magic wand tool. I went ahead and selected the magic wand tool, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my tolerance. This is your tolerance here, and tolerance is basically whenever you select any of the pixels, it's going to give a range between 1 and 100 of the pixels that are similar to those to the pixel that you actually selected. It actually makes more sense when you do it. But anyway, what I did was I took my tolerance from, I think it was at like 30. And with a tolerance at 30, what it's going to do is it's going to select pretty much a big area of the model. But sometimes it's going to catch some of these areas right here. So what I want to do is I want to bring that tolerance down to about 5. Let's make it 10. And that's going to more closely get the areas that are similar without actually getting areas that I do not want. So what we're going to do to deselect this area here is go up here to your different selection types, and we're going to go to this one here where it says subtract from selection. I currently have it on add to selection, which is why I was able to click here, here, and all of my marching ants were activated. If I want to deactivate a certain section, I'm going to go over here to subtract from selection, click that, and click over here, and that's going to hopefully get rid of some of that without getting rid of too much of what I actually want. Okay, so now that my tolerance is at 10, I'm going to go back and select add to selection and click the model here again. Now, this is the part where I'm going to speed it up a little bit so you don't have to watch all this. I'm just going to continue to click here. Now, that's actually not too bad. What we're going to do from here is we're going to inverse the selection. Right now, all this area here is what I actually selected. But what I really want is the model herself. So in order to inverse this selection, I'm going to press Shift Control I, and that's going to inverse the selection, or some people call it Control Shift I, but it really doesn't matter. And what I basically got now is just the model. Now I'm going to copy that selection by pressing Control C, and then I'm going to also paste that model on a new layer, which is Control V. So let's go ahead and deactivate the background layer, and this is what you got. Now you notice there are a lot of jagged edges around the model that you're not going to want. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back in time. This is your history palette for those who don't know. I'm going to go back in time on your history palette and go back to where we inverse that selection, which is right here. Now, how we're going to fix that is, actually I can probably fix it just by selecting this area one more time. Let's see if I can do that first. We're on add to selection. Yeah, add to selection might actually fix that. But another way to fix that is to bring these marching ants a little bit further out so it selects more of the screen and less of the actual model. In order to do that, we're going to go over to the select tool. We're going to come down to modify, and we're going to expand our selection. We're going to expand our selection. So I'm going to actually do it extreme at one point so you can see it, and then I'll bring it back down. We're going to expand the selection. Let's go 15 pixels. That's huge. Now watch what happens when I expand the selection. You'll see these marching ants move out. So what it did was it moved out, and it's guaranteeing that I get most of the model without actually cutting her out. But I don't want to expand it that far. I actually want to get it in a little bit closer. So we're going to reverse that by going back up to the selection tool, selection bar. We're going to go to modify, and we're going to contract. So we went out 15. I really only want about 2. So let's say 15 minus 2 is 13. We're going to take that down 13. So let's go ahead and contract down to 13 and see what happens. That's a little bit closer on the model. As a matter of fact, let me contract it just a little bit more. And what it's doing is it's contracting by pixels. Let's contract it down one more. And that brings it a little bit closer in on the model. And now I can select this model without worrying about actually clipping her off a little bit. So now we're going to try it again. We're going to press Control-C to copy it and Control-V to paste the new model and see what we have here. A much better selection, not bad to start with at that point. Now, from here, with this layer selected and with the magic wand tool again, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get some of these gray areas that's in her hair and a little bit of this green that's over here by her arm out of the picture. And what we're going to do that is refine it. Now CS4 I don't think has it, but I know CS5 has it. They have this tool called Refine Edge. In order to activate the Refine Edge, you have to be in the magic wand tool. You have to be in the magic wand tool, and you have to have this layer selected. In order to select this layer and this layer only, or this model only, you go over to her icon, or to the icon, you press Control and click, and that will reactivate that model or whatever photo you have. And then all you have to do is now go up to the Refine Edge. And what Refine Edge does, you'll see your brush size will be here. Your brush size is up here at 35. And what you're going to do is you're going to slowly click around this model, and you'll see that it's going to try to find all the edges of the model. You're going to go around it, and it's going to search for anything that doesn't look like it should be there. So in this little bit of gray that's in here, it's going to try to get that gray out and actually keep the hair in. So we're going to go all around the model, trying to extract any green that we might not want, and see what happens. Now you see a lot of that green did go away. Let's come inside here. It may not be able to distinguish the green from her shirt or her arm, but we can also fix that. You see it didn't get rid of much of it. We can get between her legs pretty easily. Let's come inside here, see what happens. It got rid of a little bit. Alright, so now that we've gone into Refine Edge, you have a couple of selections that you can actually use. This selection says new layer with mask, with layer mask. You can just put it on a whole new layer, or actually a new document, or a new document with a layer mask. What we want is new layer with mask. We're going to go ahead and select OK with that. Now it looks like a lot of my model has faded away, but that's okay. As long as it got rid of most of the green, that's all we're really worried about. So it did get rid of most of the green. And this is my new layer with the mask as it said before. Now since this model seems to be faded out a little bit, we want to add back a little bit of the parts of the model that did go away. So in order to do that, all you have to do is duplicate the layer that you have. This layer here, you want to press Ctrl J. That'll duplicate the layer, and you can see a lot of the model did come back in. We're going to press Ctrl J one more time. And you can see the model has come back in, but a lot of that gray is still out of there that we don't really want. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this copy, and this copy, and merge them all together, since we seem to like that pretty good. The best way you can merge the 3 copies together is you select the top copy, you press Shift, select the 3rd copy, and all the copies will be highlighted, and then you press Control E, and that will merge all those layers back together. Alright, now that we actually like that, we're going to try to get rid of the green between here and the green in here and the green in here. You go back over to your magic wand tool, select between the legs there, try to get as much as possible out. You can do the same thing over here. And that's why you want that tolerance as low as possible, because you see it won't touch any of her face because the tolerance level is fairly low. Come inside here, you see it got it there. I can bring the tolerance down a little bit more. Let's bring it down to 5. And get that out of there. Okay, now that this area is selected, and here also, now that these areas are selected, all you have to do is press delete. That gets rid of most of the problem. Now we got these marching ants. We want to get rid of that by just pressing Control D, and that gets rid of your marching ants. And this is at least something that we can use. In here you see a little bit of scruffiness, but all you have to do really is get into your pen tool and take some of that out. But we're not getting into the pen tool just as yet. We'll get on that at another tutorial. But let's just say this is the model that I actually want to use. Now, with that model selected, with this layer selected, all you have to do now is click on the Move tool, grab the model, click and hold, drag the model up to the document you're working on. You'll see the screen will change, and then you just bring her back down onto your surface, and voila, she's there. But we don't need that one because we already have our own model. But you see that layer just went right on top of the other one. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and just press delete and get rid of that one. And that's basically how I extracted this model. You see mine is a little bit more refined because I did spend a little bit more time on it. But that's how you extract the model. On to the next step.